Hello, and then welcome to another graphic designing tutorial using Canva. And my name is still Bernard, and I would want us to try our hands on this very design. I just designed this. I didn't use any templates. I just designed it from scratch. So I would want us to try our hands on it and then see how it goes. So we are using most of the concepts of designing, that is shapes, images, colors, font styles, and alignments. We'll be using all those things in this design. So first off, we come to our Canva homepage and we choose a flyer. So it will load our flyer. Yes, an empty workspace will load. We are only using this empty workspace. We will not be inserting any templates, so that we get a little comfortable with Canva, so that we can customize. When you're able to design something on your own, sometimes it makes you so good that even if you would want to use any templates you would want, you would be able to customize the templates to the point that it will not be so obvious that it was a template you used. So sometimes I like to start everything afresh, and then so that's what we'll be doing today. So I designed something like this. This is not for any company. In fact, I do CCTV camera installation, so this is just something to play around with, and then put my designing skills to use. So yeah, the information here are not is not for any company, and the name is just a made-up name. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first things first, I inserted some shapes. So when you come to our Canva workspace, we'll come to elements, and then we insert lines and shapes. You can use any of this, so let me just pick this. And again, with this particular element, you have the liberty to resize it to anyhow you want it. So I really like using this particular element. So we tilt it a little, and then we resize. We tilt it and then we resize. Okay, so yeah, something like that. Let's just go up a little and then tilt. Okay, I think I'll just maintain it like this. So now the color is some sort of a gradient. There's a deeper side, and then there's somewhat lighter side compared to this. So we come to here, and then we come to colors, and then we scroll down, and then we pick this particular gradient, and then we come to colors, and I would want us to choose this, or you can choose anything you would want, anything that works for you. Come in, let me see something. Okay. And again, I think in previous tutorials, I explained what this does. If I do something which I'm not sure what I did, then I would want to go back. And if I had moved this thing and then probably wanted to come back, I may not get exactly where it was. So I just do undo, and then it goes back exactly where it was. So I think I'll maintain this like this. I came and then selected the gradient. You can play around with this. You can play around with this, but I would want to maintain this color. And then I can come here and then change the gradient colors, because gradient is two different colors combined together. and this is actually the style you want it. So I can come here and then change. If I want it the one side to be red, I can come and change it. And then if I want the other side to be a different color, I can also come and change it. But I'll maintain this colors like that. That's what I would want to maintain. So now we've inserted this particular element inside, and there are layers, so you could realize that these layers are on top of this. So this is the first thing, so it tends to go back as and when we keep adding the layers, then it builds up on it. So I would want to insert this element also. So still at elements, and I insert this. Again, this can be reshaped into anything. I think I would rotate this a little and then push it up. Okay, so now I also rotate this to a little closer to that here, and then I bring it here. So I can change the color to white and then change the transparency to anything I want. Duplicate it, and then change the color to a gradient. This is how I did it. Again, you can play around with, you can decide to make it black, but this one I duplicated this one, so it carries the same property. So the only thing I did was to change the color, which I came here to change the color, but it already has the transparency of the one I duplicated, so I don't want this. So let me just work with this. I think I'm okay with this. Okay, I think let me maintain black. This was actually a gradient, but I would want to maintain black here because I think it looks good. So okay, and then also this just to show you how to, you know, insert shapes and then make the design look a little, you know, unique or special. So you realize I just duplicated this and then brought the element here, so I just have to increase the transparency. Yes, increase the transparency and then increase the thickness a little. Okay, and then still come and duplicate this and then place this here. So this was a gradient, then I'll just increase the transparency, and then I have something similar. Okay, we're moving forward now. This actually just again, like I was saying, it's this flyer is not for anybody, so I just, you know, played around with everything, including this, which I think is just something to replace a logo or something to look like a logo, and I just did it right inside this very flyer. So let's create this. So what I did was I just came to Google, and then CCTV camera. I think I did just come to images. So I think I did CCTV icon, rather. Yes, I did CCTV. Yes, I did CCTV icon, and then I had it, but I didn't want to download anything yet. Again, if previous tutorials I showed how to download an image from Google, which if I want this particular image, I don't just come and then download it from here, because this is a thumbnail. This is not the actual image. This is just a thumbnail. So when you download this, you're not downloading the actual image size. So when I click, it will load. When it finishes loading, then I can download. I don't know if you realized after I loaded, the white background went off. So meaning there's a PNG. PNG means it will not have any background. So just this black traces would come in, and I can move it about. So let me use it so that you see how it is. And then again, I said that I don't like downloading from Google because I would want to optimize my hard drive size or my hard drive space as much as possible, because when I keep downloading, it will keep eating up space, which I don't like that. So I just come and copy. Copying it has its own disadvantages, because if I copy this image, and every image is hosted on a server, or every image is hosted on a particular website. Now if I come back in the future to look for the same image, and unfortunately that particular server is off, or that particular website is off, I will not get this image again. That is one disadvantage. But then again, I save space on my computer, and I don't have to sorry, I don't have to download things maybe that will eat up my space. So I come and paste, and then you see what I said. Normally when you download any image, let's just pick any image. Okay, this is not a PNG, because the background didn't go off. The background didn't go off. When I click, oh, which one did I click? I think I clicked this. Yes, you see when I clicked, this still has a white background, which means when I insert this, let me just insert this, copy this, and then bring it into my work, paste. You realize it has a background. So that's one way to also know the kind of thing you are downloading. You have to be sure what you are downloading. I'm not using any of these images, but I just want you to see the difference. This doesn't have any background, so it gives me a lot of freedom to work, a lot of room to maneuver my way. This has a background, so unless of course I use another software. In fact, Canva can take this background off, but it is on the Canva Pro, and I don't use Canva Pro. I use Photoshop for some of the things that the free Canva doesn't give me, or some of the privileges the free Canva doesn't give me. I use Photoshop for that. So if you have Canva Pro, you can take off this background. So as I've selected this image, you come to edit image. Sorry, I think my PC is running a little slow. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's selected. I come to edit photos, and you can see background remover, and it says Pro. I don't have Pro. It can take off the background, which I'm not ready to pay for Canva, so I just use Photoshop for that. So I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. There are two different types of, and this is actually a PNG. We call this a PNG image because it has no background, and then this a normal JPEG image because it has a background. So yeah, I'm not using any of them. I've already used what I wanted, so it's just here. And you realize this also doesn't have a back. I downloaded it from Google. If I should search here, I would find it, but let's just continue. So I hope you get what I'm trying to. Okay, so you realize again Canva was trying to help me with alignment. So I come to elements, and then I insert this element. Now I resize, and again layers, so it's on top of it's on top of my camera. I can choose to leave it like that because I'd want to do something with it. But if maybe I don't like it there and then I want it to be behind, I just come and then take it back. But I'm okay with it because I want to do something with it. So let's just leave the back. But just in case it's on top of something that you'd want it to go back, you just select the image and then come to position and then take it as far back as you want it, or as far front or forward as you want it. So I come to color, and again I want to do something with it because you see this is sort of there's no color inside, but the border rather has color. So I just come and then select this no color, and then you see it goes off, but it's still there. So I just come to border style and then give it a border. So you realize when I give it a border, it gets a border. So let me go back. You see, let me just place it here so that the color difference, we can see the color difference. So this, I come to color and then I choose no color. It goes off. You may think there's nothing there, but it's still there. So I just come to border and then select this as a border, and then you realize there's a black border. So you see this border color. So this is where I can choose what color I want. So you see the border color is now red. Let me position it where I want it. So I want it here. I'm just creating something as my logo, because again, like I said, it's not for anybody, or it's not for any company. So okay, this is a blue. So select, come here, border color, and then select this color. So yeah, we are making progress. So now my camera has some kind of a red background, so I still use this, and let me zoom in a little. Let me zoom in a little. So this is how I can zoom in. Either I use the bar here to zoom in, or I click down, or I hold down the control on my keyboard and then use the scroll on my mouse. So any one that works for you, you can use. So let me use this and then position this and resize. Okay, so then I take it back again, position, so back, and then this is how I want it. So now my camera is in front of the elements I just inserted. So the name is just monitors. I think it's monitor. Yes, I just wrote something for the name, which is monitor. So I come and then insert my text. So I use this font style. So let me just resize it and then write my monitor. So monitor. So you realize what I did. This is the text box. So the text inside the text takes the shape of the text box. So when I reduce the text box, it breaks to the next line, and I can actually reduce the font size to suit the size of the text box, sorry. At the same time, also, you see this place, I can increase or decrease. You can see, watch here, when I'm dragging, it will be increasing and then decreasing. So I can increase or decrease my font size with this. At the same time, also, I can come here and increase or decrease. So I think, what color? It was red. So let me change the color to red. And then also, there's if you look, you could see that there's this curve here which comes with it. So this is how I created it. So I select the font, the text box, and then come to effect. Now there are different styles of, or there are different effects here. This particular fonts are inserted automatically or by default has echo effect, meaning there's some kind of editing behind the text, but that's not what I want. I want to use this background. So when I click background, there are settings here, and then I don't want this color. I want a white background. So now you see it creates a curve. What happens is, I don't know if you can get it. So this particular effect creates or gives the font some kind of background. It gives the font a background. So anywhere I move the font or anywhere I move the text box, it goes with the background. So I would not have to insert an element, and then when I'm moving I have to move the whole element. This is one way also I normally do when I want a particular text box or a particular font to have a background. This is how I do it. So you see it creates the curve that was here, or that is here. So I think I'm done with the logo. So now I insert this. So previous classes we said you come to elements. This is a frame. So come to elements, and then we search for frames. So frames, but I searched for hexagon frame. This is an hexagon frame. So hexagon frame, I've already searched for it, so it came. So hexagon frames, and you see it here, frames. You can see all, but this is what I used. This very one, the first one I used, it's a hexagon frame. So this is what I used. Let's try something. Let's see, octagon, pentagon. No. So let's just pick the hexagon frames. So I just click, and then it inserts for me, and then I resize. So again, you can either come to look for your image here. So I already have this image. Here. So let me look for it. Yes, this very image, I already have it. So I just insert it, and now I just have to resize. I think this is just okay. Now let's go back to the elements again, and you see this hexagon, and then this also hexagon. So I created some kind of background for the frame, so we can insert this and then just change the color so that we can be able to see what we are doing, and then just place it. It will not be on top. I just want to use it as measurement, and then position, go back. So you see it creates some kind of, you can make it black to create some kind of a shadow, but I just wanted this for design, designing. You can be as creative as possible when it comes to designing or creating something like this. You can play around with a lot of things and then figure out what works and then what doesn't work. So now you realize there's this background or there's this image behind the whole thing. So I come, and then I already have it. Again, if you want something, you come and search. So let's say CCTV background. So that's how I searched for it, CCTV background, and then it loaded. This is the one I used. So I click for it to load, and it finishes loading. Then I just copy. Someone may decide to save onto the computer. I don't like saving it because I want to have enough space on my laptop. So I try as much as possible not to be downloading. So I just copy and then come here and come and paste. But when I paste, it downloads into Canva for me, and then it goes into my uploads. So this is recent. Yeah, this is it. So, and this is a trick I would want you to see. You know the frame. I was saying the other day that this is a frame and this is an image. So the frame is always ready to insert or accept an image. So anytime you see the cursor turns into a four-way directional, yes, four-way directional, yeah. So anytime that particular four-way directional pointer or cursor comes into the frame, it tries to accept the image, and maybe that's not what you want. So sometimes when you don't want that, you just hold down the control key. Now I'm holding down the control key and I take it over, and you see it doesn't disturb me. When I let go of the control, I just let go of the control key, and then it wants to accept. So that's one way to avoid any trouble with that. So you just hold down the control, now you move it up where you want it. So now I resize it, or I stretch, because I want it to be the background. So I stretch, and then now it's on top, and I don't want it on top. So what do? I come to position and I take it to the back, and now it's at the back exactly where I want it. So I can reposition. Maybe it's okay, maybe it's not okay, and then you see there's a space here. So then I have to bring it, either I stretch or bring it down, and then I think it's okay. But it is, I don't want the whole attention to be on this, because it's causing some kind of distraction. So I just come to transparency and then reduce this transparency a little, so that at least it can be at the background for me. And I think we are getting there. So yeah, and then you see this, it was just an element I inserted from the element. So I just searched for CCTV, and then all this came. So graphs, see all, and then I inserted this very one. So just resize, and then just reduce the transparency. So I think we are moving now. Okay, this hexagon sort of elements. So it's still the hexagons. So the way we did this particular one for the elements, we just insert it, and then it comes as whole as it can be. And I just come to images, sorry, I just come to color of this hexagon, and then just give it sorry, a minute. I'm not getting the options I want. Let me take it off and then reinsert. It is seeing it as an image. It's not supposed to be an image. Okay, let's move. We'll figure it out. But if you followed the way I did this, because this I took the color in the foreground off, and then I made the border, I made it to either get a border or have a border, and then I changed the color of the border. So we can just do it the same way. So I think let me just maintain this like that, and then oh sorry, click outside, because the background, I clicked it twice and I thought I wanted to work on the background. So now let's insert the text. So secure your home and office with the best. So I come to text, and then there's a font, or there's a text I used. So I click and then it loads, but I didn't use the down one, I used the top one. So let me just delete the down one and then resize this, bring it here, and the first line was red. So let me just change it to red because it's not even visible. So let me just change it to red. No, I didn't select red, and then it's red. Let me be sure of the font size was 25. So paste 25, enter. Now I have this. No. So what was the first one? Secure. So the first was secure. Let me increase the text box. Now I duplicate and then add the other. Let me just copy it. Okay. So let me change the color, font color, to blue, and we are moving. Let me align in a range. I think this looks good. And then with the best. So with the best, I inserted an element. This element has sharp edges. This very element has sharp edges, but this one has a more rounder edges. So this one has sharper edges. This one has a more rounder edges. So sometimes there are some things I would want to use a rounder edges, like how we did for this logo. This logo has a rounder edge, and this one has a more sharper edge. So these are the difference. So just copy this and bring it here. And what did it say? With the best. Let me just copy. So with the best, I have to increase the text box. Now the font size was smaller, so you just have to do that, and then change the font color. It was white. So again, alignment and positioning. You can also use your arrow keys to do alignment. So you just have to select what you want to, or the particular thing you would want to work on, and then you use the arrow key to position. So now we come here and then we do all types of cameras, that is IP, analog, Wi-Fi, etc. So again, I insert an element and then bring it down. So when you insert this element, mostly it has it's in a way it's two things in one. It is a shape and then it's a text box. So you can see the cursor blinking. So you can actually insert a text. I don't want it like that because sometimes it's a little difficult to work with. So I just clear them, and then I select outside and then reselect this particular element again. And now I get it as an element rather than a text box. So again, I try to align on my right, and I think it's aligned. So you always have to choose a particular place you'd want to align. If I want to align on the left, then I have to make sure everything aligns on the left, but not focus here. So you see, I want to align everything on the right. So it is not really aligned on the left, but that is not my focus. My focus is on the right. So it looks more aligned on the right and the other, because you see, this write-ups cannot be aligned or cannot have the same length. So I just make sure one side is aligned or one side is straight and the other ones, they are okay. So IP, analog, and then Wi-Fi. So let me see the font size. Okay, this is 18. So let me reduce this to 18 and then change the color to white. And then just type IP. Oh, didn't select. Okay, IP analog and Wi-Fi. But you realize this has some bulletin. You realize this has some bulletin. So I select the text box and then I come here, list, and I bullet. But it pushed it, so it is out of the text box. So I just drag it a little and then reposition. That looks good. So we do all types of cameras, and that is 13. The font size is 13. So let me just duplicate this again and then change the size to 13. And then let me just copy the text and then paste. So I resize. Now this was the font color was white, but you see I did something that had a background with the logo. You see this name had a background, so anywhere I moved it moved. So let me just change this to white. That is the font color, and then let me rather give it a background. So the default gave me black, and then let me just change it to red. And then the font has a background and I can move it anywhere, and anywhere I move it, the background follows. So just position it. I think it's okay. So now I come and then write this monitor what you own, and any part from, it should be from, okay, yeah, monitor what you own from any part of the world. So let me just copy this right up, and let me see, it's 22. So again, just copy this, and then just change this to white. Oh, white. And then I aligned it to the left. So it was 22. And then I position. I think it's okay. So I realized the world had a background. This time around, I actually inserted this and then resized. And then changed it to red. So now I write this, we work with the best brand. So this is 14. And you realize I was using one kind of a font style. I could have used other font style, but I chose to use this font style because I don't want my work to look some way too much distraction. So I decided to stay a little formal. So this is supposed to be white, and then let me just copy the write-up and then paste it here. So just increase the text box, and then now these are the brands I work with, or these are the brands I want to tell you I work with. Now you remember we did something with the logo where I inserted something and I said something, some of them has a background and then others don't have a background. So this is an element I inserted. This element that has a square edge, that has a sharp edge. So let me just move it away and see. You see, some of them had a background and then others didn't have a background. So let me just undo, and then we'll insert this element that has a sharp edge, alignment, and then resize. So we change the color to white, and then we arrange the brands inside. So I searched for the brands and then arranged them. So just the same way I showed that I insert my images. So that's how I insert it. So I think they're already here. They're already at my uploads here. So these are my brands. So you realize this is not having any kind of background, but it's actually an image. We call it a PNG image because it has no background. But this and this and this has a background which is white. So sometimes when you are downloading, you need to be careful what exactly you are downloading or what you've downloaded, and whether it has a background or not. It can affect your work. But again, you should be able to maneuver your way around it. So like I was saying, either you download with no background, you just type what you want with no background, and you download it this way. So like the way we're downloading the logo image, or the way initially I inserted two different cameras. One camera had a background and then one camera didn't have a background. So with that, I was able to move it about. But the one that had a background was a little difficult to work with moving around. So we just have to be careful how we use that. Now the ones I inserted, some had a background, some don't have a background. So let me just, yes, exactly. So these two, this one doesn't have a background and then this one has a background. So one thing I would advise is sometimes when you want to use it, when you want to use something like this, you can't find something that doesn't have a background, and this is all that you could find. You just insert a frame. So you just insert a round frame. So let's just type frame, and then insert a round frame, or maybe a rectangle frame. So you just insert a frame, and then when you insert a frame, so let me insert this frame. This is just an example to show. Then I just come to my uploads, and if this is what I want, I just click it and then put it over the frame, and you see it gives it it puts it in some kind of, or it takes the shape of the frame. So then I can do whatever I want to do with. So I already have my brands here, so I just insert them. So I insert this in no particular order. So with this, this one has some space at the top, and then this space, it will worry me. So I just have to crop the excess space. Then now I can resize, because if I had not cropped it, this, the excess space would have, you see what just happened, the excess space would have gotten over it, and then maybe fine, I could have done position and then taken it back, but let me just be safe and then crop it to where it is necessary to leave. And then let me see if I'm done. No, I'm not done. Equation, yeah. So one last, and you see this one even had the excess space, but because it had no background, it wouldn't have given me any problems. But let me just resize it so that when I'm selecting an element behind it, it will not go and select. So let's just leave arrangements like this. Now I'm done with my arrangement, but I think there is space. The space down here, I think the space here is too small, so it's either I move this away, but let me not move it away, let me just show you something. So I select everything there that I want to resize, and then move it up a little, and then resize. Now it moved with this, so I just have to bring it back. And then let me still move this up a little to create the space. And as I'm moving also, I'm very careful with my arrangement. So I think that's okay. So I insert this element. So we're already into frame, so we just cancel it. And then I insert this element that has a more rounder edge, and then position it, make it white, duplicate it, and then send it to the other side. Alignment, you see it is aligned. It is aligned. So we are taking shape. So now again, the information here are not, is not for anybody, so I just inserted something. So this is supposed to be my website. So I insert this text as my website. So let me just copy this text. Copy this. I can bring the whole text box. So let me just bring the whole text box. Paste. And then, oh, I picked the wrong element. Select. see I picked the wrong element, so it was dragging this, so then I have to click outside and then click on the particular element I want. So this is supposed to be a website, so I just come to the elements again and then look for a website logo. So I just type website. I've already searched for it, so it just comes, and I pick the one I want. I think I would want to work with this, and then I position and resize. So alignment, it's aligned. I want to change the color to red because I have red in my design, so I don't want my design to be boring. So I want to change this to red, and then social media will come here. So let me just copy, or again, let me move the whole thing, copy the whole thing, and then paste it here, position, and then come to elements again, and then do Facebook icon. So let me set this very one, position. Realize I selected a different element, so I have to click out and then select again, alignment, and then come to Instagram. It suggests, since you search for something, it will give you similar suggestions. So just click Instagram, and I would want this, and then also you realize the Instagram went into the frame, so just undo. And if I didn't want that to had happened, either I just avoid the frame, or I hold down Control on my keyboard, and the frame will not accept. So alignment and arrangement, so I think it's okay. Now again, I said it's not anybody's flyer, so I didn't write any personal information for anybody. So this is just 1, 2, 3 as the contact. So I come and then insert the contact and come to element and then call a call icon. I want to use this, so and then I come here and then choose this color. No, I think I used red. Yes, I used red. So arrangement, yeah, I think it's okay. And then copy, bring it here and paste arrangement, and it's aligned. And then with this one, location, let me see, or I want to use this, and then drag it down. Be careful you don't select any element. Now this is a trick I use. Let me just change the color to red. There are two colors, there's a red and then there's a white. I'd want to keep the white. Now sometimes, when I'm resizing, or when you're resizing, it gives you the size of the element or the item you're resizing, and I would want this and this to be the same size, but just maybe I've forgotten the size I gave this. So I just pick this and then hover it around this. I realize it's the same size. If it's not the same size, then I just have to resize. So now you see alignment is trying to align, which I think is okay. I come to copy this as the email and then paste. So make sure it's aligned. It is. and then I do email. So I think I would use this because I want all of them. When you're in certain elements, your elements all needs to be uniform. No, I don't want this because it doesn't have the option to change a second color. This one has two colors, but this one has one color because the envelope is actually a transparent, so it can fit on anything. But I want to change the color inside because when I bring it, I can't change the envelope color to white. I can only change the outer to red. I don't want that. So let me delete and look for the one that I can change the outside. I think, let me try this. No, it's the same thing. Let me try this. Yes, this one has two colors. So resize. Again, when I'm not sure, I just hover it around, and I think it's almost the same size. So alignment, make sure it's aligned, and then change this to red, and then for my design to look uniform, then duplicate this and just also make sure it's aligned, then write contact us. And copy contact us. And I think we are good. We're good. Now we've designed a flyer from scratch. We've designed a flyer from scratch without using any templates, and this looks good. So again, like I'm saying, keep practicing, keep trying out things, and figure out things that works, things that doesn't work, and that's one way to learn. So thank you for joining me to learn how to design. Have a nice day. Bye.